I'd like to welcome everyone to our April school board meeting. Call the roll, Mr. Basser.
Mr. Jewell?
Here.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Here.
Mrs. Miller?
Here.
Mrs. Milligan?
Here.
Mrs. Morris?
Here.
I'd like for everybody to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Vell for the student program recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. At this time, I'd like to call Mrs. Sarah and Mrs. Cox to the front. I gave all of you a copy of the bulletin that we were mailed, and it talks about the Franklin B. Walter Scholarship Program. This is the 7th annual. All the counties across the state have this recognition program. They go through an extensive search for a worthy senior recipient, and they are awarded some money. We won't divulge how much, but and then that student picks a teacher that has influenced them throughout their career, and then they talk about them, and that teacher also receives a little bit of a stipend, which I'm sure we've already spent. So what I'm going to do at this time is I'm going to read what I read at the banquet about Alyssa Nacero, and then she will read about Madam Cox. Okay. It's my pleasure and privilege to present the Carlisle High School Franklin B. Walter Scholarship to Alyssa Nacero, who has distinguished herself as an outstanding student, athlete, and citizen during her years at Carlisle local schools. Alyssa's activities include, but are definitely not limited to, the following: Student Council Vice President, 2020 and 2022, National Honor Society member, 2019 to 2022, Varsity Football Cheerleader, 2019 to 2022, Varsity Track member, and team captain 2018-2022, member of the 30-plus ACT Club, competitive cheerleader and dancer, and theater 2022. Alyssa's appreciation, respect, and commitment to her education is certainly attributable to the influence of her parents, Michelle and Jason Nacero, who are also here. Thank you for coming. Don't know the gentleman, is that your brother? Thank you for coming. Academically, Alyssa has worked hard to attain the level of achievement that has distinguished her as a worthy recipient of this award. Her ACT score is an outstanding 31, while her GPA is currently at 4.241. She is currently ranked 3rd in her class. After graduation, Alyssa plans to pursue a degree in the field of chemistry on the pre-med track, as well as minor in French, and she will be attending the University of Kentucky. Please allow me to introduce at this time Alyssa Nacero, Carlisle High School 2022 Franklin B. Walter Scholarship recipient. Thank you, Alyssa.
Dear Madame Cox, when I was presented with the decision to either take French or Spanish in high school, I knew without a doubt that I wanted to take French. Maybe it was because I don't like Mexican food, or because I already knew some French words from ballet, but if I could go back and give my 8th grade self a high five, I would, because your class has been one of the best things about high school. When I first met you, I was terrified of you and your class. I know that every freshman is scared of the new high school teachers, but you were the only one who really had me nervous. It was probably because I was told that I would fail French class because the language was harder than others. But it's hard to fail a class when your teacher is amazing at what they do. But your class has influenced me more than any other class. You shared your love for this language with me, and now I'm hooked. Even though I might not have expressed these feelings in class, I am proud to say that these past 4 years have been so much fun. Thank you for sharing all of your everlasting knowledge about the French language and culture with me, and for giving my class more than one food day per year, and for letting us watch Hannah Montana the movie in French instead of watching an actual French movie. You introduced me to something that I truly fell in love with, and I am forever grateful. Because of you and your class, I've decided to further my education and minor in the French language in college. I am super excited for this new adventure, and you will definitely be receiving emails from me asking for help next year. And P.S., you should use the scholarship money to French up your room a little bit, because it does not scream bonjour when I walk in. Maybe a flag or an Eiffel Tower would help. Merci.
Now, at the luncheon, Madame Cox was not allowed to give a rebuttal, but if she'd like to say anything at this time, she's more than welcome to add anything to the discussion.
Oh, I get to talk now.
If you'd like to.
Okay. No,
30 seconds.
You know, everything that
everything that you know, the accolades and everything. I'm just sorry that you didn't get the whole Warren County, because you work so hard and you have just a great, I mean, I've never seen you stress out. Does she ever stress out? Okay, never mind. I mean, we don't see it. So, thank you for being an amazing student.
Oh, thank you.
It's true. But thank you. And I do have posters. I do have posters.
We'll be checking on those this week. So thank you very much for being here tonight, and the Star family, you're more than welcome to stay. But if you can find anything better to do, you're more than welcome to leave at this time. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Take care.
Alyssa, do you need another copy of the program? Okay.
Nice try.
At this time, we have a spot for visitor comments. If we have any visitors that wants to make any comments. If not, I'll turn it over to Mr. Bassler for the Treasury Report.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. I don't have a very big report this month, no non-action items, so we'll just get right to action items and start voting. First item is I need an approval for the minutes from the last regularly scheduled board meeting, which was March 21st.
I need a motion. First by Mrs. Milligan,
Second?
by Mrs. McIntosh. Call
Yes.
roll, please.
Mrs. Milligan,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mr. Jewell,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Morris.
Yes.
Next is the financial report. You'll notice that it has a different format. As I talked about before, we switched software systems, and this is the first board meeting after closing and being under the new system. So if anyone needs help with figuring out how to read it, which I really don't think you do because it's pretty self-explanatory and looks pretty much the same as the previous report, just a little bit different format. So with that, if there aren't any questions on the financial report, I need approval for that for this month.
I need a motion.
So moved.
First by Mrs. Morris,
Second?
second by Mrs. Miller. Call roll, please.
Mrs. Morris,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan,
Yes.
Mr. Jewell,
Yes.
and Mrs. McIntosh.
Yes.
And then lastly, I need an approval for the donation made from the After Prom Committee of $1,000 to the class of 2023 who sponsors prom.
I need a motion. First by Mrs. Miller,
Second.
by Mrs. Morris.
Yes.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Morris,
Yes.
Mr. Jewell,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
and Mrs. Milligan.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's my report for the month.
At this time, we'll turn it over to Dr. Bell for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. District update, just want to keep plodding away, and unbelievable that next week is May already, and the year will soon be over, but finishing strong, a lot going on. I always kid that the seasons in Ohio are fall, winter, testing, and construction, and we are in the testing season right now, so everybody's been busy doing that, adjusting schedules, making sure all the Chromebooks work, making sure everybody's where they're supposed to be and taking the right tests. And so we appreciate the teachers and the principals and the counselors taking care of that and getting that underway and getting that completed. Upcoming this weekend is Sister Act play, Friday night and Saturday night at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 2 p.m. Along with other recognition, the Area Progress Council of Warren County has Project Excellence. That recognition ceremony will be next week, May 4th, at the Warren County Career Center. And this year's acknowledged teachers will be Heather Bishop and Diane Johnson. And we will have them at the May board meeting so we can publicly recognize them. And then every indication I have is that although we do appreciate our staff every day, next week when we come back is Staff Appreciation Week. Starts on Monday and ends on Friday, and we will certainly make sure that they understand how much we appreciate each and every one of them from the bottom, which is me, all the way up to the top, which is them. So thank you. Action items. Item 1, general district business. We approved the CHS Theater Arts Walt Disney World Trip, June 4th through 8th, 2023. The cost is responsibility of the student. That's attachment C. If you have any questions, I'm sure we can get Mr. Hamlock to answer those. B is the approval of open enrollment application for next year, 2022-2023, attachment D. We had to change a little bit of language in there, but it was just superficial just to make sure that it coincided with our policy language. And then item C was first reading of policies listed there. That was attachment E, and the majority of those, again, were nomenclature, changing some things, make sure everything was subject, verb, and everything else that we had to have on those. Get rid of some that we didn't need, did not approve any that we felt we did not want, and then we just tweaked the others. So if I get a motion, or if I could get those approved, I appreciate it.
If there's no question, I need a motion.
So moved.
First by Mrs. McIntosh, second by Mrs. Milligan. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan,
Yes.
Mrs. Morris,
Yes.
Mr. Jewell,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller.
Yes.
Item 2, I'd like for you to approve classified employment. We have Bonnie Evans as a sub-bus driver as of April 5th, 2022, and Margaret West as a 4-hour custodian effective April 18th, 2022.
I have a question. Is the 4-hour custodian, is that a new position, or is it filling in somebody?
It's
Okay,
a replacement of
That's fine.
the one that resigned.
okay, thanks.
I need a motion.
So moved.
First by Mrs. Miller,
Second.
second by Mrs. Morris. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Morris,
Yes.
Mr. Jewell,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan.
Yes.
Thank you. And item 3, supplemental employment. We would like to employ Samantha Vors as the high school assistant volleyball coach and Taylor Lawson as the girls varsity soccer head coach.
Need a motion. First by Mrs. Milligan,
Second.
second by Mrs. Morris. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Milligan,
Yes.
Mrs. Morris,
Yes.
Mr. Jewell,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all that I have for tonight.
Do we have anything going on as legislation report there?
They are still trying to work on redistricting. That's been the big talk among everybody, and all the reports we're getting from OSBA and such. Not redistricting school districts. Let me be clear on that. Redistricting, yes, voting districts, yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
As soon as I said that, I'm like, we're going to get some phone calls. No, not the school. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Joel.
We don't have anything on CTC, right?
Actually, I do have something. If you got people in Carlisle, if you get, or anywhere that CTC area, we do have, every once in a while, I don't know how often, but we do get a little flyer, what's going on. And on the back of the flyer, they highlighted the Carlisle High School students inducted into the Miami Valley CTC National Technical Honor Society. And we had 6 students, Wyatt Banks, Abigail Davis, Emma Gillespie, Lainey Pottinger, Jordan Wheeler, and Amy Strider. So congratulations to those students, and they will graduate on Friday, May 16th at the Nutter Center. That's all now.
Have we got any old business? Any new business? I guess that's all we need. Anybody, you need to go out and watch the girls softball. They're really doing good, and the boys both are doing real good. So if you get a chance, go out there and watch them. If that's all, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
First by Mrs. Morris,
Second.
by Mrs. McIntosh. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Morris?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mrs. Milligan?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
And Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
I have 6:15.